Okay, so we're looking at a couple drafts of a public notice that we go out before the public hearing. And we had some comments that we should put in. Everybody's reading this on their computers because we couldn't print it because something was wrong with the print shop. So there are a couple different versions here, and I guess,
Well,
John, I'm gonna let you just,
yeah, I'm
Because you
gonna
can see it.
stick with, because I'm not seeing anything on Google Docs. I think one of the things that was suggested when we were offline is that we remove the sentence, registrations will be accepted on a first come, first served basis, and testimony time will be limited to 2 minutes. I guess we'll keep that.
yeah,
So we'll just take out the first phrase. Is everybody okay with that? Andrew?
I did think this morning we said that we would add in there that if not all time slots are filled, there might be time for 3 minutes per person, just to give people that chance to be prepared. I know that 2 minutes and 3 minutes doesn't seem like a difference, but speaking from experience of trying to practice and be prepared testifying last spring, there's a big difference between 2 minutes and 3 minutes, and having been told 3 minutes originally and then cut down to 2.
but we're going the other direction.
Right, but the point is that we want people prepared for that time. So I think just giving them a heads up that there might be a chance that.
Why don't we do this? We could do that in the email they're gonna get with the link.
When will that email go to them?
A couple days before.
And my point is I just want people to be prepared, not caught off guard.
Because who knows how many people will register.
Right.
So
I think a lot will. I
then
don't think
we
they'll.
probably won't be an issue.
Right.
Right. Don, did you say
Yeah.
you didn't
Yeah.
get the Google Doc?
I get it. I did not see any changes in it.
The comments aren't on the right there?
Nope.
Really? Oh, maybe I need to make you an editor. Let me.
I didn't see the Google Doc.
And can you include me as well?
Well,
I think maybe we should just stick with Dale's.
Okay.
yeah, I think that we should do
Yeah,
that.
I'm not seeing the Google document either.
Okay, so I think Kate's suggestion that we just stick with this one, make changes on here that we feel are. So we decided to take out first come, first serve, but leave in the 2 minutes. And not put in anything about possibly 3 minutes because we think it probably won't be an issue because a lot of people will see that.
Can we
3
change,
hours is not a lot of
Right.
time for,
can we change the sentence that says the public is invited to register to speak at the hearing or submit written testimony to and or?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think we really want, somehow I'd like to convey that if you are speaking, we still want that in writing because technology can be impossible.
Yep.
And if we lose people, we
So-
still want their.
Yeah,
Heard partially
that's-
what you said.
yeah.
Please repeat it.
I would just change the or from hearing or submit written testimony to and or.
and or,
And I wonder if when we send them the follow-up, you know how you said you were gonna send a link a couple of days before, John? That in that, when we send out that little message to people about, here's the link that you join, that we press them again if they haven't already sent their written testimony to send it in written form as well.
Okay, so where do you want the or? I'm sorry.
The public is invited to register to speak. It's, I think, the third sentence.
Oh, okay.
that I'm looking at.
Speak at the hearing.
Docs.
Or submit written testimony.
and put and
And
or.
or.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Don, there's an extra S in the very first line, public hearing to listen to teachers, state employees, taxpayers, and other. You want to drop that S?
That's not fine. Sorry. Nope. Got it.
Where's that one?
On the very first line, it says others interested, and you want it to just be straight others.
Oh,
It's in there again a second time too, I think.
It is the second one? Yeah, it is.
Yep, I got it. It's in the header.
Yep.
Thank you.
I don't know how other feels, but others feel it, but I think maybe in the second sentence where it says about what pension aspects are the most important. that maybe we finish that sentence with to you.
I think that was the original
Sure.
idea, and then I was the one that dropped the to you, because somebody may think that this is the most important thing to me, but I realize that really the most important thing is, but it's fine, I think that's fine.
In the version I'm looking at, there's some differences in formatting and so forth. I assume those will be fleshed out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this goes to our editors, and they don't let anything slip by.
That's great. That's awesome.
Do you have to put the whole address in like that on your software, or can it just say like the task force interim report and then link those words?
I mean, hyperlink.
Yeah, it's a little cumbersome. If you can hyperlink, I think it's less cumbersome.
We can do that. Unless this is a printed document. Right?
Oh, good.
Yep.
point. Yeah, because then they'd have the address there.
Yes, because I believe this will also go out to newspapers.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Anything else?
Thanks for the draft, whoever drafted the draft.
All right. Did you get those, Gail? Or?
I did, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're all okay with this, the draft of this public notice? Okay, great. So we will try to have it go out on Monday. We'll give 2 weeks. And in the meantime, I'm sure that people will, anybody who's been listening has known for a couple of weeks at least that it's November 1st. And I'm sure that a lot of people already are thinking that it's November 1st. but- Okay. Great. Okay, shall we go to agenda setting? So the suggestion was that we not meet next week, which would have been next Thursday, I believe. And that instead we add a meeting at the end. And I looked at the calendar, John and I looked at the calendar over lunch. And it seems, and I'm certainly not wedded to this idea, but it seems to make sense. Our last meeting is on December 2nd. I mean, first, I'm sorry, first. I haven't got my new glasses yet. December 1st, and the report is due December 2nd, but I'm not terribly worried about that because it's better to have a report a couple weeks late than to not have it done the way we want it done. So I would suggest maybe that we then skip the next week and meet on the 15th, or that week anyway. Just that gives time in between working on the report, being able to digest it, read it. And
On the 15th or somewhere around there.
wait, Leona had
Oh,
December, but I don't know if the 15th is, I was just suggesting that week, that we
Oh,
skip a
okay.
week and then go to the next week. Yeah,
Okay.
Go ahead, you know, if you need to, that's fine, I will not. I've got the Budget Adjustment Act,
okay,
the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. That typically sucks all the oxygen out of the room upstairs, so I won't be here.
We'll send you tanks.
did you say thanks or tanks?
Either, whichever you need more.
Something with candy, you know, would be good.
So in my understanding, by December 1st or 2nd, we'll have a draft of the final report,
We
a
should.
week plus to look at it, and then we'll finalize it. Then is that what you're?
That's what
Okay.
I was thinking, that made sense. That gave us more time in between. Because if we're dealing with it on a Wednesday and it doesn't come out until Monday,
Mhm.
then that will give us an extra week in
Yeah,
there.
I just want to make sure I was following your timeline the same way. Thank
That
you.
was my thought.
So that's 1 week, October 21st, but we're adding December 15th.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, we thought that it didn't make sense to meet the 21st because we won't have stuff back from the actuaries and we'll just, and then that gives us an extra meeting at the
Okay.
end. So we'll meet the 27th, 3rd of November, the 10th of November, 17th, and then not Thanksgiving week, the 1st, and then not the next week, and then sometime the next week, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, that's, my schedule is completely open, so it's up to everybody else to when they can do it.
I vote for Wednesday.
For what?
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
We do not have a meeting scheduled the week of the 6th, correct?
December, you mean?
Yeah.
Correct.
No, because our last
December
meeting
1st.
was on the 1st, so now we've added this one meeting.
And that there, with those of you who are legislators, is there any reason that the December 2nd deadline was set that we'd be delaying?
I believe it was to give us time to get drafting requests in for a bill that would propose these options that we come up with. But we can put in the drafting request and then flush it out afterwards. So it's not,
We won't be.
waiting that
impeding
long
the
isn't gonna,
process.
no,
Okay.
no.
The
Thank you.
drafter who will be drafting the bill will be our legislative council staff person for the second half of the task force. So I think she'll be well familiar with what we're working on.
Yeah, and she'll have a lot of the drafting done before we come up with the final
Okay.
report. Okay. So does that work for everybody? Does Wednesday work?
Yeah.
So that is the December 15th, right? Okay, all right.
I feel that we're not gonna, that Peter won't be able to attend.
I may be able to sneak down here a little bit, but absolutely no promise.
No,
But I don't think we want to go to the week of Christmas.
No,
no,
no.
we don't want to do that.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's quite all right. I have family flying in, so that is quite all right.
Okay, so next meeting. What do we need to hear from more? Again, topics of discussion.
When do we anticipate actuary numbers back?
Chris?
Oh, not before. I think.
So the meeting on the 27th would probably be, I don't know, what do people think we are missing so far, lacking?
Can I throw out kind of just a different angle? If we don't have numbers back by then, do we want to cancel that meeting too and go December 8th and 15th?
I'm open to that.
Yeah, I think it's hard for us to continue the conversation
Without-
a meeting without
We're kind
numbers.
of hungry for the numbers.
Right, like,
Yeah.
we're just gonna continue to spin wheels and throw ideas out without.
I can do the eighth.
Yeah, I'm,
We do, that week sometime, don't we have our,
Yeah.
well,
brief session?
it couldn't, we have our legislative briefing on Wednesday of that week, but
I can do December.
December what?
December.
I don't think any legislators will be here.
Oh, so maybe the 9th.
We have our legislative briefing when we're told what a bleak picture it's
Oh,
going to be this year.
so you'll be really happy the next day too.
Yeah. Maybe we should have it the day before. But-
December 8th is the JFO set.
Right, that's what I just said.
Oh,
You were talking about, I didn't think about it.
Sorry.
December 9th?
I think so. I've been checking with my superintendent. but-
I have the first meeting, that trustees meeting that day, but I can try to have an alternate. So,
Does the 9th work? Corey? Michael?
before we say night, could the 7th be a possibility that week?
Works for me.
Is that Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday. Okay, we're gonna vote on Tuesday first. Tuesday,
Tuesday.
Corey,
Yeah, but
Michael? Okay. You're a down? Is that because of the press conferences?
Okay.
Should you go on record and say where you'd rather be?
Not nice, Dan.
I could go either one, so 7th or 9th.
So you can't be here on the 7th and you can't be here on the 9th.
Well, I can be here I can't be here on the morning of the night, so if Commissioner Pichak is unavailable that whole day, then I think it does make sense to vote the night.
What
Okay.
about Monday? We still have other days that week to look at.
We do.
What if we
Sure.
looked at the 6th?
When we initially looked at
I'm not
this,
here Monday.
The only problem with Monday that I see is that later in the week is anything that's done at the meeting before doesn't give much time to get to us by a meeting Monday. Hard enough to get it to us by a meeting Wednesday, just because of time
I mean,
constraints.
especially because we'll be drafting the final report at that period of time.
the Thursday, but we took our lunch break 11 to 12. Could you get here by 12, Eric? if
I was
we
coming
did-
to the same conclusion. Yeah, I think I can work around December 9th, probably the easiest.
Okay.
Because it's that meeting zone.
It would be remote, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And maybe we could adjust our lunch.
Meetings at once.
I've done that.
He'll be over there in that.
All right, so do we have the 9th going?
Yeah.
Going? All right, it's a deal. That was a good suggestion, Molly.
Sarah, you still have-
I like the 9th.
So
Great.
that's October 27th. We're moving to
Wow.
December 9th.
Yes,
So when we leave today, we would next see each other November 3rd
yes.
and our
November
sweaters.
1st.
Man, what was that?
Oh, that's right. Oh, right. Do we have to brush?
Oh,
anything-
yeah, November 1st,
Do we have to brush
Good point.
anything up before that? Is that gonna be a problem?
only your hair. I mean, our hair. I didn't mean you in particular, Molly. I meant our hair in general,
Our
Brush it up.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, Dan, you. I don't think so. I think that what we should do before then is, once we get the names, then we can look at those names and try and figure out how to allocate the way the testimony happens, if we have to do it by affiliation and then non-affiliation, or and how many people sign up from, I mean, if 2 troopers sign up, then clearly we're not gonna have a trooper every round, but if 30 do, then does that make sense? And we can look at those when we get them, and then Gail send them to us, and then just send out a note to everybody saying this is the way we would propose doing this.
And we had also talked about doing maybe a 10 or 15 minute little talk summary at the beginning. Are we still thinking that or no?
Well, I think that it may be less than that. Just laying the groundwork, I think, just to say this is.
Just so people understand how the process is gonna work.
Okay, but not a summary at all of the
No.
document.
It's complicated because of Zoom and, getting people in and out of
Oh,
the
right.
hearing. So that they understand it, their names will have to be called, they'll be next in line, and just
I
so people understand. There's a lot of work that goes in on the background to make these public hearings that are virtual work smoothly.
But I think not what you were thinking of was laying the groundwork for what we've been doing and a summary of that. I think if people are interested and have been following, they have a clue where we are. And if they haven't, then that 10 or 15-minute summary is going to be so,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Peter had a comment.
Just, don't be surprised if they're asked to be in five. The last 2 or 3 that I've gone to on Zoom, where they're half an hour early, then you go dark and you do whatever you want to do, but you're already in the meeting so that our staff set everything else up.
yeah.
Yeah, Peter's right, we will have to be there half an hour ahead of time, just so. You don't have to stay there. but-
No, you just
Sorry.
come on, so dark. and
Get
do
it.
whatever you want to do as long as you're there. But leave the computer on.
I was just about to go.
Yeah.
Just heads up. Thank you.
All right, so what we should do is, we will, is there anything, no, let me back up. What people should do is, everybody should think of things that, in addition to any of the actuarial work that might be back, that on November 3rd, that we should put on the agenda, and send that to Sarah and me, and we'll get an agenda put together. But send the stuff because, if some things come up or we need to hear more cheery news from Senator Kitchell or whatever people think we need to do on the 3rd, and we'll get an agenda set up before that.
Jeanette, I have 2 thoughts right now. One is to just do impressions of the hearing and
Mhm.
anything that we want to try to capture immediately. And the other thing I was wondering about, just from a demographic perspective, one of the things I've been curious about, I don't know if this is something that your office could do, and it might be easier for state employees and teachers, but is there anywhere where we can find out the number of vacancies currently in the different branches?
Well, there might be something in the workforce report, but they're not putting that out yet. But I'm sure DHR probably has some idea of how many vacancies there are in state government. I don't know how we would find out for teachers because it's so decentralized. But we could ask the Agency of Education if they have any ideas of how many vacancies there are.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious
Yeah.
what those numbers look like and then how that might affect our thinking process.
Yep.
I think it's worth keeping in mind that vacancies are sometimes held intentionally within state government as a budgeting mechanism and might not be an indication of anything other than a desire or an explicit policy to save money by not filling a position.
Yeah, that's true.
So to put a little more explanation into that, when the budget comes from a Department of Financial Review, for example, they would budget as if every position was full for the entire year. But if there wasn't that much money within state government to be able to handle all that, they would be given a 3 or 4%. That is a common percentage to achieve of vacancy savings. In other words, they've got positions that are vacant, or it could be a rolling position vacancy. As long as 3 or 4% of the personnel costs are not paid out that year, but you always start with 100% funded. That's what the service talked about.
And depending on the snapshot in time,
Yeah.
take to look at that and store the picture.
Yeah, and then in my world of education, that would be maybe over the summer, but like right now, the vacancies we're seeing are alarming, so I'm just kind of curious what those numbers look like.
John, did you have?
Yes, so if you go back to Beth Vestigi's report, she did have the number of active job openings as of July 19th, 2021, which was 674.
So that's job openings, and we don't know how many of those are.
And that's,
for
it translates to
vacancies.
a vacancy rate of 12%.
That sounds like it's actual job openings that are out there for people to apply to, and not the vacancy savings
Yeah.
that I was discussing.
So the other thing I think that we will have, hopefully have some kind of a report on is the judiciary
Hopefully.
by then, on where we are with that.
It's not directly related to the agenda, but as I was sitting with Chris's document number 4, I was thinking that we did have some discussion that day when we came back from the small groups of potentially structuring employee contributions as a payment, as like a surcharge payment to the unfunded liability. And, you know, that would, we would have to make a choice at some point whether we want that to go to normal cost or we want it to be part of recurring revenue. But it's just something I didn't see in the write-up.
So we need them to give us a number of what this translates to, and then we can ask them, say, what would happen if you applied it to the unfunded liability.
Okay.
It's not gonna shrink the size of the unfunded liability, it's just really gonna reduce the amount of ADAC payment that we would be paying for the normal, for the unfunded liability. Savings would show up in the This is like a rough estimate. It's more complicated because we have to look at tiers and all these other things, but for every 1% across the board increase in employee contribution rates for BSER, it yields roughly $6 million of extra revenue. And that goes with my
Is there anything else right now that people, is on people's minds?
Is that, you're gonna miss my birthday next week, is October 20th?
What did, I couldn't hear you.
Happy birthday.
You get to
Happy
take
birthday.
Oh,
you get to take home the leftovers.
Yeah.
It's on the 20th.
oh,
I was gonna just announce that on the 21st.
You can sing once we're offline.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, if anybody thinks of stuff that should go on the agenda for that, for November 3rd, that in addition to impressions of the hearing, well, we don't need to talk about vacancies because we have that, unless their agency of education has some idea of the, I'll send them an email and ask if they have any idea statewide what their vacancies are. Okay, and then our report from judiciary, which hopefully will have by then. Anything else that? But, so if anybody thinks of stuff, just send it to Sarah and me and we'll get it on here. All right. Are we done? Does anybody have anything pressing they want to say? Happy Halloween. I was hoping we were gonna meet Halloween day, so we could put warehouse and such.
Thanks again for the pastries.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're